When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois. We have transferred right into your telephone or your laptop or your television, maybe.
Man, I forgot to move my wife's heater in the background. That little heater.
Is that
down in
really
the
how
corner.
you want to open the show? We're
Well,
opening
normally
the
it's a more cropped like image. I don't know sure why we have such a wide shot today. Usually
I
that
don't
stuff
know.
isn't in there.
This is full and in effect. You get to see more of my stuff over here.
Oh,
my
you can see
stuff
all the
over here.
crap. You can even see how I tried to hide some stuff with a white hoodie to the
Everybody's zooming
side.
in right now on your outlet situation there, Jared.
Yeah, if I moved a little bit aside, you can see. Wait, there's a disc. That's
There's a disc.
Yeah, that's a Philo Brathwaite.
I feel like you're doing some weird
Star
weather
Destroyer.
thing. Do you want to? I was going to put in a weather graphic because apparently you guys have weather. Oh my God, you have weather in Southern California.
Oh, so I was okay. Do you know how are you a gentleman who enjoys? You're a gentleman who enjoys a good whiskey or has a whiskey.
I do
on it?
enjoy a good whiskey. Yes.
Because of that, do you find that your relations think that you want things like whiskey stones and stuff like that?
I have been given whiskey stones. I've been.
Do you ever use them?
Whiskey ice making things. The stone. I'm not a fan of stones. I like a little agua in my whiskey.
Yeah, I like the ice in there. But
yeah.
I found the first thing that I actually like that is a gimmick like that.
Okay.
Coaster stones. Like
What
you
does
put
that
this in the freezer. Like it's like a slate, piece of slate.
I see.
And you put it in the freezer.
I see.
And then you set your drink on it.
Okay, but if you
keeps it cool.
If you are a refined gentleman,
Mm.
you would let your whiskey get warm. You would let your whiskey get all nice and toasty and drink it hot. Drink it not hot. Okay, I'm not saying like warm up. Although hot toddies are a thing, so I don't know. All right, we are live on a Thursday, transfer deadline day over there in Europe, jolly old England, and we do have some transfers to talk about on this program. I'm actually, we finally made it. Our long national nightmare is over, Jared. Are you aware that Gio Reyna finally has a new... Now, whether or not you are on board with this move is certainly a different question.
I thought you were going to say Inter Miami finally got exposed. That was our national nightmare. Was over.
Our national nightmare was Inter Miami being considered good before they ever stepped on the field with his new look side.
You can't reward that kind of behavior.
Inter Miami got stomped 6-0 today in Saudi Arabia, and everybody's panicking. Everybody's going crazy. No, this is the big news right here. Gio Reyna signing on loan with Nottingham Forest. We were saying free Gio. Lots of people were obviously talking about this. It seemed like he had to find a place. Now, I got done yesterday, not today. It's not a deadline deal, but it is pretty close.
Is he freed?
Is he freed? Well, he seems to think he's freed. I
think you could make the argument that, hey, he's going to go someplace. He'll get minutes. That's probably what some people would consider being freed. But he had to sign an extra year to his contract to do it. That's the part that's interesting to me.
Well, it just means that now Dortmund has the opportunity to flip him for more cash if he does well at Nottingham Forest. I mean, look at the man. He is resplendent. Look at that pose. He's staring off
too thin there
into the imagined distance. You think he's too small for
the
Premier League?
Body shape of an ironing board.
Oh no, but he's a footballer. He's not supposed to be like.
He does look like the dude who can take a tackle right there.
He's not supposed to be brolic. Nuno likes him, right? This is okay. We will, if you want to do a little conspiracy theory, and I don't have like the X-Files theme, which is certainly date me. I don't have the X-Files theme or anything like that, so I can't. Closest I can get is maybe
Go to DEFCON 2.
I don't know, something like that. If you want to do the conspiracy theory, and this is not, it doesn't take a genius to understand this. Gio Reyna switched agents in late December, just ahead of the window open. He signed
Jorge Mendes.
Jorge Mendes, a Portuguese super agent, which I don't think means like he's got powers. I just think he means he gets a lot of deals done and makes a lot of money.
Power.
He has famously been basically the power behind everything Wolverhampton Wanderers did for a while. And now he's got his guy. Nuno is his guy. Nuno Espirito Santo, also Portuguese.
Badass name, by the way.
Probably not how you say it in Portuguese, but I say it in Spanish because when you go to mass in Spanish, Jared, it is that. It's el nombre del Padre, del Hijo,
I'll take your word for
Santo.
it.
Espirito Santo. It's like this.
I'm persona non grata at the church.
Is that your best attempt at something Spanish? That's
Latin,
right?
isn't it? Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't go to Latin masses. I go to Spanish masses. Nuno is Portuguese. Jorge Mendes is Nuno's agent. And it's a direct flight, a direct connection here from Jorge Mendes.
All right, let's go
Dortmund
through the
and
pros
Nottingham
and cons here. Pros.
Yes, pros.
He's going to be tested in the best league in the world.
If he plays significant minutes, that is a correct statement.
Okay. He has the chance to cast off the label of being a soft player, being an injury-prone player. He has the opportunity, again, assuming he gets the minutes.
He could do that.
Yeah.
Now,
he gets to prove himself.
I will say a corollary to the soft player thing is the he don't play defense thing, or he don't play enough defense thing, because Nottingham Forest, unlike Dortmund, when he was on the field, is not going to be in the ascendancy as often, right? He's not going to have as much of the ball. It's going to require a little bit more effort on Gio's part to be part of a coordinated defensive effort for Nuno. And I don't know, like the physicality thing is certainly part of this, but I think what people are remembering from some of the moments at Dortmund, particularly in the last year, when he was struggling to get on the field on a regular basis, is that Gio wasn't as interested in defending. He wasn't. He had some pretty bad body language at times, right?
Yeah, and I'll say 2 years ago that didn't concern me because he was playing wide striker for the most part, a wide forward position. As he's moved to a midfield position over the last year and a half, it does concern me because the expectation is different. Now the question becomes, at Nottingham Forest, what is his role going to be? Yeah. I'm not sure what the thought process is on that. Is he going to be playing that attacking midfield role?
Right. Is he gonna push? What's gonna happen? Okay. Getting into the weeds on his role.
Usually Forrest isn't always going to have a lot of the ball.
That's what I was just saying. This is all speculative, right? About how Forrest is going to play. I mean, you could say, well, Nuno's been around for a little while. He took over from Steve Cooper. He's already had his hooks in this team, but maybe this is a remaking of the squad enough that he will change the way they play. I suppose that's possible. But you have Gibbs White in this team. He's probably not pushing Gibbs White out of the starting lineup. Whether or not Gibbs White and Gio can play together, I think, is the question. Right?
The thing that makes this really murky is that this isn't the only move Nottingham Forest is making. They've brought in like 3 or 4 people during this. I don't know if they all came across the line at the end.
They brought in Ribeiro, Portuguese winger. Oh, Portuguese winger.
They brought in a keeper.
They brought in a keeper who's probably going to be pushing our boy Matty Turner out of the Matt Turner did not cover himself in glory last time out for Nottingham Forest. Again, he
also didn't cover the 5-hole.
Well, that's exactly what it is, right? So this is some good and bad when it comes to Nottingham Forest. If we're focused on, and look, I do think that Matt Turner's status at Forest is a potential massive problem for the U.S. men's national team going into the Copa America summer. The hot Copa summer that we all want to have. Who's the number one? If Matty Turner's not playing at Nottingham Forest, for crap's sake, who's our number one? I think that's a big question. We'll get to another transfer here that could play a role in that. But I do think that, I'm more excited to see the Gio thing than I am saddened by the potential benching of Matty Turner. Does that?
Well, yeah, I think that because Gio's a generational talent on the ceiling,
potentially.
Yes. His ceiling is a generational talent. Matt Turner is a really good keeper. He really is. Is he ever going to be covered in the same decorations as Tim Howard or Brad Friedel or Casey Keller? Probably not, and that's okay. You don't have to always have that guy. But in terms of we were talking about the pros for Gio Reyna, what else do you want to put on the list for a pro? Obviously, shop window. It's a nice shop window for him for the summer.
Look, somebody mentioned the relegation fight, and that is a problem. This is from Aaron. I think it's a good spot to prove what he can do, but they are in the relegation bubble. That's a worry. That's a worry.
Why is it a worry?
It's a worry if it directly impacts his playing time because Nuno needs to go with a.
But they got to throw shit at the walls right now.
Exactly.
And he's shit.
No. That's 100%.
He's shit. He's the shit they're going to be throwing at the walls. Though.
If you ball Gio up and throw it at the wall, he's the shit.
He's the shit. Yeah.
He's the in that way. He's the shit. Jared said it, not me. You could probably just gonna get back to Claudio, and you're gonna get a phone call or something, which I think you'd be pretty cool with, actually.
I hear his calls go great.
That's definitely a thing. I do think so. The relegation thing doesn't bother me as much as the fact, and I just looked it up, Jared. What is the average possession for Nottingham Forest in a given match?
Percentage?
See how close you can get. Yeah, percentage-wise. Average possession for Forest in a Premier League match. You're actually underselling them just a touch. They are at 39.4% on average. Where do you think that ranks among Premier League teams?
Man, 30. Let's see. Should I think who else is at the? I will say.
Just use your logic.
How many teams in the Premier League?
20 teams. Just use your logic brain. Use your logic brain.
18.
They are number 17. They are ahead of Everton, who does not play with the ball. Sean Dyche, he doesn't care about the ball at all. And it works for them on some level. I know they're in the relegation zone, but that's because of the points deduction. Luton, who is, a relegation-threatened club, who's had a nice little turnaround, but come on, let's be honest. And Sheffield United, who's pure crap as well. So that means Nottingham Forest behind clubs like West Ham and David Moyes, he don't care about the ball. Crystal Palace, that's on a great team. Bournemouth, Burnley is terrible, and they're 13th in the Premier League in average possession. So this is definitely the thing.
So you're saying we've moved to the cons?
I think we have moved to the cons, right? No, you're right. Okay,
I don't think the regulation battle is even a pro or a con. It's just what's happening.
Is what it is.
Because he's not. It could be a pro because that means they have to do things differently than what they've done before. And incoming players, you're not bringing in players at this point in the year in the position they're in if they don't think they can be difference makers quickly.
So let me
go. I think that works to his advantage.
Let me go to something our favorite Cincinnati representative said in the Slack.
I'm starting to like Cincinnati.
Nikki Soup and Salad, Nikki Soup and Sausage, Nikki Soup and Bones, Nikki Soup and Sushi, Nikki Soup and Soup and having sex. That Nikki. He said there are 17 games. He counted them up. I'm trusting his math. 17 games left in the Premier League season for Nottingham Forest. They do have an FA Cup match coming up, a replay, which could be his debut. It could be. How many appearances in 17, just in the league, for Mr. Giovanni Reyna?
Appearances or starts? Appearances are a lot harder to do. Starts, I think it's a little bit easier to do.
Okay, give me a number.
Starts?
Give me a guess. Give me a small. Give me a number that represents something success wise in terms of playing time.
Sure, realistic number.
Best
realistic number starts.
Yeah,
8.
8 out of 17. If he gets 8 starts, okay, that's not terrible.
A successful stint.
Yeah,
start wise.
Yeah,
I think is somewhere in the 8 to 14 range.
So that's appearances.
No, that starts.
Oh, you're saying anything from 8 to 14 is success.
Yeah, I think that's a success.
Okay. All right. So the bottom line number for success is 8.
I think so from a start perspective. I mean, like you said, you would like to think that they're bringing him in. Yeah, I mean, he's got to work his way in a little bit. They got to figure out how to use him at first. I expect to see probably a few substitution appearances at the start. It really depends. The funny is, we just have no idea what's in the mind of the coach and what they see him as and where they rate him. I think we all think he could play and he could start right out the gate. Nate in the chat says he thinks 7 starts is the number. What's your number? What do you think is accurate and what you think is going to happen realistic? And what do you think is a good number?
I do think 8 is a realistic number. I know that you're right because 9 feels like a lot somehow and 8 feels about like the level. I think 8 starts and 14 appearances. I know that's what I thought you were going with that, but 8 starts and 14 appearances, that would be success.
That's success in terms of what, because the immediate goal for Gio Reyna is minutes and time, exposure, ball touching the ball.
Give me them
It-
sweet minutes. Give me
That
them
is
sweet
his
Clem
number.
minutes.
Whether Forrest lives or dies in the Premier
Yeah.
League this year does not really concern
We don't
Gio Reyna.
care if Forrest burns. We do not care. Run, Forrest, run. Sorry, these are bad puns. My bad.
Oh
All right.
wow! At least you didn't do anything like King John or anything like that.
Oh, I mean like the sheriff of Nottingham?
Yeah.
Is Gio Reyna now the sheriff of Nottingham?
So the result is it's less than binary. It really doesn't matter if it's a 1 or a 0 at the end of the season. The question is, did he get minutes? That's what he's there for. Did he showcase well? Because you don't expect him to be at Nottingham Forest next fall.
No, regardless of what happens. By the way, somebody asked about a buy clause. There is no buy clause.
Yeah,
there's
early
no option.
that was out there being rumored, and
They don't have the Nottingham Forest can't do it anyway at the valuation that Dortmund would put on Gio. And again, this is why he signed a new contract or an extension with Dortmund, so Dortmund can maintain control of his future and reap the rewards.
Let's go away from minutes. What's a good statistical output for him? Not necessarily
Right.
goals or assists. Let's just say goal contributions.
This is the thing. This is why the Nottingham Forest style of play, the fact that it defends so much, the fact that they play against the ball so much, makes it really hard. Now, I will say, if we're thinking really, really, really hard about any other pros, I think I would say that for me, one of the pros is that Gio will get a chance to play in a counterattacking setup, because I do think the United States is going to need that weapon.
He's good on the break.
When we come back, he can do it. He doesn't do it a lot with as much at Dortmund as he would with Nottingham.
No,
Okay,
in
that's
the
not true.
Bundesliga, they have the ball so much.
Right. Well, what I was going to say, I don't know volume how it's going to work out, but obviously it's going to be much more important that Nottingham Forest finishes their chances on the break with Gio involved than it was for Dortmund, who was going to create other opportunities in other ways.
Yeah, it's
So-
unfortunate for Gio at Dortmund, because Dortmund being one of the better teams in the league, if you're the substitute on that better team, you're often coming in when there's a lead to be protected. You're not coming into the game as much when you can throw caution to the wind and just all out attack. Now, there's been moments where he's done that,
Occasionally.
I don't think that
he
plays
was
to his
that guy.
strengths.
He was that guy coming out of the World Cup in 2023, the beginning of the year in 2023 for that season. And he got a couple of goals that were important to Dortmund making their push for the title.
And
which
still didn't
obviously-
get him on the field.
It didn't get him on the field this year. You're right. It did not.
Well,
So
didn't get him on
again,
the field as a starter last year, even though he was scoring goals.
in terms of contributions, because Nottingham Forest is Nottingham Forest, and there could be relegation fodder, and they play against the ball, I would say if he gets goals plus assists, actual counting numbers of more than 5, I would call that a success. I think I would call that a success. 2 goals, 3 assists in 8 starts, 14 appearances, 1,000 minutes, as somebody suggested, Antonio. That's what I would say is a success.
Yeah, and it's tough for his position as well. It's almost more, how does he contribute to the style of play, the run of play?
Yeah.
You know, what is his possession and his passing statistics? That's the kind of stuff that maybe even be more important. I guess more than anything too, and you know how I feel, I don't really trust numbers. I'm more like, does he pass the eye test? Does he look like he belongs in the Premier League?
That 3 is so shifty. I don't trust it.
Well, I mean, it looks like he's eating the other numbers.
Yeah, okay. that's something about 7, 8, 9. I don't even.
Yes.
That's a kid's joke. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's Gio going to Nottingham Forest. I wanted us to have an opportunity to see what Gio had to say about his move. Actually, listen to the kid talk about this, because look, he looks resplendent there. Is he happy? Is he smiling? Is he ready for this? So let's listen to Gio talk.
Welcome to Nottingham Forest. Can you describe how it feels to be here?
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. The club and the team has a really, really good opportunity for me, so I'm just really happy to be here and can't wait to get started.
All right,
Pause
look.
it. Pause it. What's
Shit
wrong with that
ain't good.
hair? Why?
Shit
Where's the
ain't good.
where's the blonde hair?
Oh, he must have grown it out.
Why
and
is he trying to
shaved it.
church it up for the Premier League?
You think that's what it is? Like, oh man, I'm going to England. I can't be wearing
My
the
man's
blonde
churching
hair.
it up. That
I-
ain't Gio.
You're the so that's interesting. You know, if we're gonna really dime store psychology, this is interesting, because Jared Dubois, you have a theory about flashy haircuts, right?
Yes.
What is your opinion on
Well,
flashy
that,
haircuts?
it just has to match the skills. Like, you can't have it and then not match the skills. Like, if you're not a creative player, you shouldn't have a flashy haircut.
If you play defense, don't get a flashy
See,
haircut.
like take back in the day, Mike Pecky. The dude bleached his hair, but
Uh-huh.
he balanced it with an ugly nose strip, so you knew what he was about.
Okay, that's Now this is combining into some unified theory of this.
Yeah.
So Gio had the blonde hair, but maybe he was more comfortable. I mean, obviously he wasn't getting the playing time he wanted, but I certainly think he felt comfortable at Dortmund. Maybe he was trying to stand out. Maybe he was trying to stand out in training with the blonde hair, right? I know there's also been a U.S. men's national team trend towards this. We saw it in the January camp for the kids. Not sure I love it. Not sure I love the outward, the out
One
there-ness
Duncan
of it.
Maguire, who we may talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, and by the way, his hair I don't think has changed all that much since that camp. But Gio may have shaved the blonde after it grew out, right after his roots were starting to show.
I think his
again.
new agent's like, hey, you need to represent right. I can't sell that.
It's like when you get coached to do an interview, like when
Yeah.
your dad's like, you make sure you ask them about the company, and when they say
It's like I was afraid
know.
to bring kids over to my house when I was like in elementary school. My dad always threatened to cut the rat tails that were in style back then off. Like I'll cut that rat tail off.
I knew so many kids with rat tails. It was a wild thing. Why was that coast to coast too? Like how did that become?
Remember
like a trend?
Sebastian Velasquez for RSL?
Yeah,
That dude rocked a
yeah.
rat tail.
Yeah, I mean, look, Diego Luna has himself
He could
you
rock a
know,
rat tail.
a mullet that could easily turn.
His
into
hair
a-
literally looks like Davy Crockett's coonskin hat. Cat.
It's a little bit of that. Okay, let's hear more from non-blonde.
He's got good lips though, Gio Reyna.
I'll leave that there.
Just
You
saying.
were born in England before moving to the United States and then to Germany. How have those experiences molded you as a player and as a person?
To be fair, I only lived in England for 4 to 5 years, but all the English players that I've played with say I still have a bit of that of those roots in me. So I think they've come a long way and helped me along the way too.
Wait, what does that mean?
Read Sancho.
What does that mean?
It's a nothing statement, but it was a nothing question too. This guy, come on, that question. What is that? Hey, hey! Surely we have something to do with how good you are, right? 'Cause
Right,
you lived here
right.
for a couple of years. It's freaking stolen valor.
What if Gio starts to pick up? What if he starts to go Brad Friedel on us, and we start to hear that tinge, that little?
At least
that
he
little,
can claim that he was born there.
Yeah, he's walking around. I'm English. I'm
Friedel
English.
stepped off the
I'm
plane at like
English."
25, and all of a sudden sounded like Hugh Grant.
Yeah, maybe Gio did have an accent for the first 5 years of his when he started talking.
Yeah,
for
he
a couple
did.
years
He
that
said
he was
coffee.
talking. Yeah, no, what? What's that? What is that?
He was in New York.
Okay,
And then growing up in the States and Germany, what were those experiences like?
all right, we went back.
Yeah, it
a
was
little bit.
different. I think almost off the pitch helped a lot more too. In terms of moving to Germany, you learn a lot of different things, and just growing up, I had a lot of good people around me. America's home, and will always be home. So, but in terms of moving to Germany, it made me grow up fast. Gave me my first taste of professional football, and so both really good, important place for me.
All right, I like that from Steve. Weird seeing our Dark Prince be so smiley. See, this is the thing that you have to remember.
Yeah.
While Gio has very strong villain energy,
Yes.
villains enjoy themselves, right? They laugh, they smile,
They laugh in a very particular way.
I mean, it depends on what villain you're talking about, yeah. But
You just want to see that. I want to see that mischievous glint in his eye,
you want to see. I mean,
because that's the Gio I like.
I would love to see some. I'm gonna see if we can find video of the first training session when he.
Do you think he'll do
it?
anything nearly as baller as when Tyler Adams cue balled that soccer ball out of the path of? Was it Kyle Walker? I can't remember. It was Newcastle, I believe. I can't remember who it was. But remember when the ball, he was going to pick the ball and Tyler Adams kicked another ball and hit it away? It's the greatest meme an American's done in Europe.
All right, let's see what else Gio has to say.
Sorry, you've played in the Bundesliga, you've played in the Champions League. Now, how excited are you to be on the verge of making your Premier League debut?
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's the best league in the world. It's the most entertaining, the most watched, and I've watched this league since I can remember. So I'm just so happy to get started with this team, and I hope this team win games and be successful.
Do you think he almost said win championships? And I was like, nope, no.
I mean, there's
that's
2
not.
stars on his shirt. Granted, I think it was the 80s. But
Brian Clough. That's a while ago. I say, I definitely get the sense, and I think this is a major part of this, Jorge Mendes and all this, but this is a major part of it. Gio thinks of himself as a marquee guy. He thinks of himself as a star.
As he
He
should.
thinks of himself as a player who should be shining on the biggest stage. And he knows, look, he's not going from Dortmund to Manchester City, where his boy Erling Haaland is tearing it up. But he can get a peek in the Premier League, get a little taste of it, show what he can do, and that might be his launching pad to
By the way, and I
superstardom.
don't know the answer to this. It's unfair for me to ask you off the cuff, but do Nottingham Forest and Manchester City play before the end of the season?
Somebody check. Well, I
Are
will
they gonna
source
have-
that.
I'm
I'll
gonna
source
be
that.
interesting to be able to see that matchup and see those two guys on the pitch and who leaves a little bit extra in the tackle during that. But here's what I'm thinking right now. I just want some kind of flair, whether it's
I have an answer for you.
Okay,
They play April 27th
that's
in,
enough time for him to get into the team for sure.
in Nottingham. Oh, I mean that's basically
With that,
down the end of the season.
yeah.
That's pretty close to the end of the season. So,
See, but
yeah.
in the shot right here, I just want something from Gio, whether it's a ill-advised line in the eyebrow, maybe a fade. This literally looks like he put the clippers on 3 and just went
Wait a
over
second, hold
his
on.
whole head.
Okay, so you're saying that he can get away with the blonde, so the blonde was cool, even though he wasn't
I
playing at
want him to
Dortmund?
have some flair. I want him to match his skill set with a little bit of flair, man.
Oh, he'll do something. You know he'll do something. It's not going to stay like this. It's not going to stay out.
And I'm not usually a big fan of the eyebrow notch, but I think he can pull it off.
He's got the brows for it.
Follow the Premier League quite a lot. Then are there any particular players maybe that have been idols for you before?
I always used to watch Man City growing up. I think I used to love Samir Nasri. I think he was an amazing
Interesting.
player, and
Underrated.
I try to take bits of everyone's game, but Samir Nasri and Kevin De Bruyne now. So
You've also played in the World Cup. You've got 24 appearances for the US national team, following in the footsteps
That's the sore subject guy. be careful about that.
I'm sorry, I was reading the chat. What did he say?
He said, "Oh, you've also played in the World Cup. You've got 24." And I was like, "The World Cup is a sore
Ooh.
subject. Maybe
Ooh.
be careful."
Perhaps the news didn't get across the pond.
Do you think he was? Look at his face right now. Do you think he was like?
He's like, you
I didn't-
fucker.
I didn't play as much as I should have at the World
This
Cup.
is he's like, this is that fucking British media I've been hearing about.
Yeah, this show. Okay, now we got.
to your parents, of course. That must make you really proud.
yeah, I think football in America is definitely on the way up, and I think, not speaking for myself, but also the whole national team in general is very proud to be American, and really wants to put American football on the map. So all the players in Europe now that are being successful with all over the world and in Champions League and in big competitions, it's I'm just trying to help.
Yeah, I really wanted the interviewer just to chime in. Your parents must be so proud.
Well-
you're 24 minutes of the World Cup.
When
Your parents must be so proud.
when he mentioned Man City, I mean, he said I watched Man City a lot as a kid. Oh yeah, why? Why? Because of your dad, Claudio? Oh yeah, how's he impacting your career these days? Claudio, I mean, by all accounts, no matter what happened with the national team and all of that, Claudio's hands-on. He is guiding Gio. I think the Jorge Mendes thing is as much about
And that's
about
fine,
Claudio.
but there's a line.
There's a line for how involved you should be.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
he's going to be calling up the coach of Nottingham and saying, hey, why is my
Oh.
kid getting minutes?
Oh, I don't think that you should put that past.
I think he might
Claudio
call his
Reyna.
agent to say that.
He would call Jorge Mendes, and
Yeah.
then Jorge Mendes would call Nuno and say, "Play my kid, play my American kid." Right.
Yeah.
that train go on. So, yeah, I'm really proud to be American. I'm sure we'd all say that together.
Why isn't he wearing American flag right now? Why doesn't he have a draped? I know there's pictures of him with an American
Is he
flag.
have more
What?
chest hair than I realized? Look at that where that mic meets the top of the.
He's
Is
he's
this
like,
dude wolfish?
Think about his background. Think about the genes that course through his veins.
Did you ever
Yes, he's
think
got-
of Claudio Reyna as hairy?
No, but you never know what's going on under a jersey.
That
never
dude's got,
know.
got a little bit of a pelt.
Now-
It looks like.
I was saying about him saying I'm proud to be an American. I have no doubt about that. There are pictures of him with the American flag. I didn't use it for any of our visuals tonight, but there is a picture of him draped in the American
They
smiling.
ain't dumb. They see the numbers of jerseys Pulisic is selling
So-
in Italy.
It is obligatory that any American signing at any club has to do shots with an American
Now,
flag.
is that
Are they-
something? If you sign a Cameroonian international, are you
That's
doing
what I'm
pictures of
saying.
the Cameroonian flag? I don't know.
That's what
It's
I'm
not for
saying.
me. It's not marketed to me. I don't know.
Are they putting those on socials? Are there Australian guys that are draped in that Australian flag? Like, we'll see, whatever. I don't know. All right, let's keep going.
Now,
Morgan
how
says
would you
he feels like
describe
he's
yourself as a
crazy
player,
hairy.
and what can fans expect to see from you?
I think what I would say is, I think going forward, I like to be around the goal, around the the danger area, creating assists, creating goals.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, just creating opportunities for the team to score and be successful going forward.
You know, I love this. This is such the proper answer. He's like, I'm going to go out there and wreck shit. I'm going to tear it up. I'm going to score goals like you've never seen before. He wants to say that. He wants to say that he's going to embarrass people and run the show. That's what he wants to say. And I love him for it. I do.
You know what would say that for him? An eyebrow notch. A rat tail.
What about this one from our friend SEO Spider? I think Gio could rock an earring. You think
I
Gio
do,
could pull an
but
earring
I
off?
don't think he could rock tats. I don't think he's a tat dude. I
No?
don't see him as a tat guy.
Okay, Morgan, coming at this from a different angle, says that he should get tattoos. That he needs
Man,
tattoos.
I don't know, man. What would this tattoo be of? I don't know.
There is something to be said for
I can see something with his brother or something like that.
body hair and tattoos are not always a good combination.
Yeah,
Those are always that's a
you end up
tricky
going
thing.
with a calf tattoo or something like that if you're a hairy dude.
All right, let's see.
Forward and pride myself on being able to do a bit of everything going forward. So I'm just looking forward to help the team and show my quality.
And you must be looking forward to meeting your new teammates and the coach as well.
Yeah, obviously that was a big part of me coming here was the coaching staff and Nuno, and obviously I know a lot about the team with a lot of very, very talented young players, so it just felt like the perfect decision for me.
Okay,
Plus,
so
they're
this
willing
is-
to let me play.
Update on the tattoos from KY718 says that he has his brother's name tattooed already. That's his late brother.
right.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's not about flashiness. That's
I wonder
about
where,
family.
though.
You can't. No, I don't care. He can whatever. It's not my business to know where he has his late brother's name tattooed.
You
By
call
the way,
yourself Big J journalism? You don't know where his tattoo is?
I mean, I guess I got to get checking with my sources and see what's going on there.
That's what all day he knows.
I mean, in addition to the body hair thing, clearly this is a man that if he wanted to, could go beard. Now, I'm not saying he should.
He could.
That's a tough move to pull off.
I think he's too boy faced right now to rock that.
It would be dark. I mean,
It'd
he's
be
got the
dark.
shadow. He can do that thing where it's not even really a beard. It's just a couple. It's like a day or two worth of stubble. And
But then
you
if he
know.
covered up those beautiful lips.
And some familiar faces. You know Matt, of course, from the national team.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's-
don't bring up Matt.
Like I said, it's
Don't-
always
don't.
nice to have Americans around.
No.
I'm sure he's gonna help me settle in quickly here, and he's a great guy, and I'm haven't seen him yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing him and the rest of the team.
Finally, we get an amazing atmosphere here at the City Ground. How excited are you to meet the Forest fans and make your debut? For
These are
the
the
club?
kind of questions I hate.
Yeah,
What's he gonna
I'm
say?
so excited.
Fuck
I know
them.
the history of the club. And,
Forest fans, gross.
I'm more of a suburban kind of guy myself, more
You-
urban. I don't like
You'd
the
never
forest.
catch me around fans from Nottingham Forest. What is that? Where Robin Hood is
the
from?
experience in this stadium that you can get. So, I'm just so excited. Looking forward to this Sunday against Bournemouth, and then the following Wednesday, I believe we play Bristol. So I'm looking forward to both these games, and I'm ready to go.
All right, so that Bristol game, that is the game, the FA Cup replay that he could have a role in. I don't think he's playing on the weekend, Eric. Sorry. Oops, I'm sorry. My bad. Let me go ahead and apologize profusely.
WNBC. WNBC.
Jared just quit because I called him by the wrong name because of the radio show I do.
Sorry, I had to walk that one off.
You should be very offended by that. Of course, I don't want to get your name wrong.
I mean, listen, I like to be a Hall of Famer.
That's a good point. You would like to be a Horvath fan. Do you? So yeah. Well, okay. I don't know what to take away from that. It's pretty standard boilerplate. Hey, there's a new player. He's smiling the whole time. He's clearly happy about this because he thinks he's going to play, which is enough for me, Eric. Damn it, I did it again. That time on purpose. Okay.
I don't think you did.
Let's move on to Paxton Aronson. All right, Jared.
Are you being Brendan?
Yeah, this is the wrong Aronson. Paxton Aronson signing on loan with Vitesse. This is another player leaving Germany, but to Holland, a younger guy, also with some quality creative tendencies, but he's just much earlier.
I like the move. I mean, obviously we know offensive players in Holland, they can shine. It's a question again, will he get the minutes? I would like to think that Eintracht Frankfurt was going to let him go if he didn't have some kind of condition of hitting some minutes over there. But at the end of the day, for a young player, get the play time. And I think he could show well there. So I like this move for him.
A couple of things. One, always respect when a player is asked to do this pose and actually pulls it off kind of well. This is a tough thing to do.
But what's behind him?
Oh, it's the American flag, of course,
Yeah.
obligatory. You got to have the
Yeah.
American flag. The other thing is these badges are kind of close. Like they've got similarities. Is this some like
Chicken? Yeah.
some weird wing conspiracy thing happening here with Vitesse? Are those supposed to be eagles on the Vitesse badge? I actually don't know. I know that the Eintracht Frankfurt badge.
Griffins?
Are they griffins? I don't think. What are griffins?
Two-headed. One of us two-headed. So I thought maybe it was griffin.
Griffins are like lion birds. Is that right? Is
Sure.
that how that works? Okay. Paxton
You role play
Aronson-
more than I do. I don't know.
What?
Nothing.
No. All right. Paxton Aronson going on loan to Vitesse.
Good move for him.
Hope he gets playing time. This one nearly didn't happen, and then happened, and I guess now
Drama.
It's he was on a plane when Tom Bogert said the deal has fallen through, it has collapsed, and then
And part of it being that Blackburn was trying to cockblock Orlando City down to stretch on a defender they were trying to pick
who
up.
Orlando did end up getting, by
Yes.
the way. I think that's done. So this is what we're talking about here. Duncan Maguire signing on loan with Blackburn Rovers. He still has a touch of the blonde. It's still there, Eric. Damn it. I'm sorry. It's been a long day, man. It's been a long day, Jared. I think you need to change your name to Eric.
Maybe you should start saying dude or
Oh,
chief
man.
or boss,
I should.
captain.
Duncan Maguire. Everybody gets to see what kind of red I turn when I make a mistake like that on the video. If you don't watch the video, there's a reason to do it. Duncan Maguire, 1 year as a professional. Just 1 year as a professional. It's not like he's like got this whole long resume. I know.
I'm assuming he must have European passport eligibility.
That's a good question. He
For
must.
Blackburn to spend this money on a player
Yeah.
this young on
Yeah,
one
he-
year,
he-
you got to figure that he must have had some kind of passport in via grandfather or something like that.
Could be.
The
Could
EPL
be.
doesn't waste spots like that easily.
Well, I don't know what the standard is at the championship level for the work permit, but yeah, they went hard at him. They were gonna pay Orlando something like $4 million for him, and it ended up being a loan fee of $700,000, I think, which is significant for a loan for the rest of this year. There is an option to buy, but it's like $9 million or something, which Blackburn is not gonna pay, no matter how good he is. So I don't know. I mean, this one.
Daryl
is an
DK
interesting-
walked so Duncan Maguire could run.
I guess that's true. He comes out of Omaha, Nebraska, and I would just like to say I'm glad
What-
that Omaha's repping.
And then
That's
wasn't DK out of Oklahoma? I mean,
He was out of Oklahoma. That's right. The
Orlando
DK
City is like really whacking the bushes, finding some talent.
What did you just call Oklahoma and Nebraska the bushes? Is that what you said? Like,
Yeah.
Damn, dog, that's in a
is this
Can
is
you
like
name the
coastal?
capital of either of those states?
This is coastal elite behavior. The capital of Oklahoma is
That's a trick question because it's in the name of the capital. I
yeah, it's
think.
Oklahoma City. The capital of Nebraska is Lincoln, not Omaha. It is.
That's
Lincoln.
not fair. It's the president's name. It's too easy.
What does that mean? I wonder how many I could do off the top of my head. I've probably forgotten some at this point.
But
there
that's
goes-
a good turn on investment for Orlando City. Both drafted players.
Yep,
You know,
absolutely.
turning that Orlando City has done a very good job, a little bit nice, quiet job of turning a profit on some of these players. After Dallas, this is some of the best bit of business that MLS team has done.
Yeah. All right. Let's. I think we got one more in here. Oh, this one. Ethan Horvath.
Oh,
So
man,
I'm gonna-
spreading.
Permanent deal with Cardiff. This is the best picture of the bunch. I will just say.
Yeah, it is.
Horvath.
Use full package.
He's not. I don't know. He's a lanky dude. He's a goalkeeper. He's a lanky dude. He's got Brad Friedel tendencies with that. But he goes from Forest, where he wasn't even on the Premier League roster, wasn't eligible to play league
You know,
matches.
I feel bad for Ethan Horvath, not about this move, but just in general. The dude got Luton up and then ends up being a backup keeper
Yeah, I
on
know.
Forest, not getting his due.
I know.
I really hope that this is a move where he gets significant minutes and he gets a chance to prove that he belongs.
You know, there's okay. Look, I think he's an incredibly nice guy, and I wonder if that works against him. Right? It's not to say he's not a good keeper.
Well, Turner must be an asshole because he's keeping that spot.
Well, that's wild because I think Matt Turner is a nice guy too. But so there must be something about Ethan Horvath, because how many times has this happened to him where he's actually had a good run of play and then a club's like, nah, we're going to go in a different
Was
direction.
it Middlesbrough before Luton?
No,
Where was it?
somebody is going to remember who it was before Luton, but it wasn't Middlesbrough because Zach Steffen went on loan to Middlesbrough.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and Ethan Horvath, I mean, he got pushed out of the team in Belgium because they signed Simone Mignolet, which is tough because that's just
That's pretty damn good of a replacement.
Veteran legend who comes in and takes your job. I mean, yeah, it's the reports are that multiple MLS clubs went after Ethan Horvath in this window, or ahead of the
Listen,
MLS
good
season.
for him. I don't think this is the time to make that move. Like I said, he is only half a season removed from being the starting keeper on a championship team that got promoted. So,
Yeah.
I don't see why he would think he needs to go backwards at this point. I just think he needs to find the right fit, and hopefully he's done that.
Well, okay, this is the bigger question. In light of what's happening with Nottingham Forest signing a new keeper in this window, who we presume is going to be competition for Matt Turner. I mean, we thought that maybe he would lose his job to Vachidimos, and that didn't happen. And then he kept making mistakes, and it still didn't happen. He makes another mistake last time out for Nottingham Forest, getting beaten near post 5-hole by Gabriel Jesus. You need to make it easier for that guy. I mean, that was going to be a tough game for Nottingham Forest no matter what, but they didn't give them they didn't even have a chance because Matt Turner gave up a soft goal. And now Forest goes out and signs a keeper, and as they send Ethan Horvath off, and again, it sounds like that's going to be competition for Matt Turner. There's every reason to believe he's going to lose his job.
For sure.
So if Ethan Horvath starts games in the championship with Cardiff City and says, let's I don't know how many games they have left. The championship is like 85 games in a season.
Yeah.
It's insane. But let's say he makes 15 starts or maybe more than that and plays well. I'm not saying like he's a all-star, but just plays well. Is he suddenly in contention for the number one spot for the U.S. men's national team going into the summer, considering our current situation with Matt Turner?
Contention, yes. I don't think he just gets it. I think he's going to have to earn it in camps and show that that Matt Turner is truly not the starter. But I would say Greg Berhalter's been pretty loyal, but at the same time, you saw on the eve of the World Cup where Zach Steffen ended up.
Stop doing that. Hey, Greg, stop it. Stop being loyal. I love Matt Turner as a guy, and I love his story, but he's not. If he's not getting it done,
But
he's not
at the
playing.
national team level, have you seen anything that's giving you?
I mean, that's the problem, right? We have a mess of mediocre keeping happening right now, and
but
I think
he hasn't
somebody's-
been bad at
Matt
the US
Turner
national
for the
team level.
national team. You're
Yeah.
saying.
So why would Greg
Man.
Berhalter care if he's having a bad time at Premier League as long as he keeps putting good results? Maybe the U.S. national team CONCACAF is his level.
Yeah, but when you go into Copa America and you're playing, Brazil and Chile and Argentina and Colombia and all those teams, so you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm totally comfortable with Matt Turner back there. Totally cool with that. I'm not.
I guess that one of the things that's shocking about the most recent gaffes is that the one thing Matt Turner has always been, despite some of the other mistakes, he's always been a shot stopper. He's always been a shot stopper.
Yeah.
And we knew the issues with the feet and stuff like that, but he just got beat near post to his legs. And he's been beat near post another time. I remember in the last couple of games.
You know how
it hasn't been good.
When Zach Steffen was on the rise and he won goalkeeper of the year in Major League Soccer in Columbus, and he gets his move. City buys him. Oh my God, City! And then they send him on loan, and he's playing in Germany, and he's playing, and whatever. There were times when he was sort of becoming the what everybody thought was going to be the number one keeper for the U.S. men's national team. When we were talking about, oh my God, the problem with Zach Steffen is that he plays too casual with the ball at his feet. He plays like somebody who
complete opposite.
He thinks he's Ederson back there.
And I gotta think that
Matt Turner plays frantic as hell.
This season, I think he's tried to be more Zach Steffen, and it's about biting him in the ass.
This is an interesting interesting possibility, by the way. Is Matt Turner a new dad? Has sleep deprivation hit him hard? I remember thinking about this. I remember thinking about this with our guy at Norwich. Why am I blanking on his name? My striker at Norwich.
Oh my God, Sargent.
Josh Sargent. Josh Sargent went through a period where he was bad, and he had just had a baby, and I'm like, oh,
I don't know, man.
He's
Sean
not
Kemp
sleeping.
had 11 kids and was an all-star.
Was he taking care of those kids?
I
Sean
don't
Kemp?
know. I'm just
Was
saying
he-
the dude had
was he-
enough kids to be on a jury, and that was still an all-star.
Okay. I suppose.
Does anyone listening know who Sean Kemp is?
No, nobody's that old, I guess, at this point. Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Detlef Schrempf. Was he on that team? Was he a pacer?
Nick Cannon can still do a TV show.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But it's a little different. I don't know. Maybe sleep deprivation is not an excuse, but it could be a factor. It could. And, you have to imagine, like, coaches know that this stuff can affect players. I mean, is he so sleep
He's not
deprived?
He's not the first player to have a baby.
No, that's
Hell,
exactly
Kyle
right.
Walker's having 2.
Right. Are you allowed to say that stuff, man?
It's a fact.
I know. I guess it's out there now as fact. It's no longer potentially a lawsuit in England if you
Dude,
say that
Kyle Walker has the biggest balls. If anybody, the
You
guy
think
already
that's
got
what
his
that
mistress
is?
pregnant once.
That's not.
Got his
that's
girl
not.
pregnant, and then got his same mistress pregnant again.
Well, yeah. Kyle Walker is a candidate for I guess an earlier in
Douche
life
of the year.
vasectomy. maybe you shouldn't be risking that, Kyle. Like maybe you should be taking massive
What an
precautions.
a-hole.
All right, I didn't know this was going to turn into a Kyle Walker behavior review.
Maury Povich episode.
Who's a bigger asshole? I won't call her that. That is unfair. But there's some news out there on the women's side of things because Lindsey Horan did an interview with Meg Linehan.
Did you just call Lindsey Horan an asshole?
No, that's what I'm saying. She's not an asshole. But people may consider an asshole based on what she said to Meg Linehan. All right. Aaron, you said you have not seen these quotes yet, so I posted them here, and I'll read them. This is just part of the longer interview, so there's context missing. But Lindsey Horan said, American soccer fans, most of them aren't smart. They don't know the game. They don't understand, but it's getting better and better. I'm going to piss some people off, or I'm going to piss off some people, but the game is growing in the U.S. People are more and more knowledgeable, but so much of the time, people take what the commentators say right. My mom does it. She breaks into laughter. This is what Meg wrote. My mom said, Julie Foudy said you had such a good game, and I'm here just going, I was effing bleep today. I'm sorry. We're cursing today? I was fucking shit today, is what she said to Meg Linehan. So, do you take offense?
No.
I mean, she obviously, this is a shot against the American soccer legend, Julie Foudy, but do you take offense?
Even with Julie Foudy, I don't think even Julie Foudy should take offense because at the end of the day, only Lindsey Horan knows what her coach's expectation for her role was, what her marking strategy was supposed to be, what instructions she was given on the field. I mean, Julie Foudy could look at it and say, yeah, hey, she had a good game. But for Lindsey Horan's part, well, hell, I was supposed to do this, this, and this on the field, and I didn't do it.
Right.
You know, listen, I don't think anyone's going to say Julie Foudy doesn't understand the game. Now, does she understand the current women's national team and the current state of the game? Maybe not as much as she thinks, but I don't think that.
Okay.
I think it's easy for any American soccer fan to look at a game and have a knee jerk. If Lindsey Horan's going to tell me that, hey, everything I saw at the World Cup was wrong and they played really well, I'm going to call bullshit.
Okay, that's not what she's saying. I don't.
No,
think
but
that's
she
in
is
there.
saying that American soccer fans aren't able to analyze the game and see it correctly.
This is a weird one.
It's a little
hard.
bit. It's a little bit of a heel turn in saying that, it's not us. You just don't understand.
This is one of those things where a player is couching criticism with this idea of, oh, but there's improvement. And I think what she's saying mostly is that we have a developing soccer culture and there are vast amount of fans, men's, women's, doesn't matter, who don't really understand the game but are still very vocal about it. I think that's what she's saying. Now, the problem is that, you paint with a broad brush or you throw out a net like that, you're going to catch a lot of people who, will take offense and say, wait a second, you're saying I'm not smart? I mean, most of them is what she said. I mean, I think it's easy to. There are two ways to look at this. As a fan, from your personal perspective. One, she's not talking about me. She said most of them. I'm one of the not most. I'm a smart fan. She's just saying that most those other people, and we gatekeep with soccer so hard in this country. It's going to be easy for lots of people to put themselves.
The ones that
in
think
the
expected goals mean something.
Those ones. But the other way to look at it is like, hey, wait a second, Lindsay. Are you saying this because you got criticized? I mean, it's funny how she flips this, right? Because she's not saying most American soccer fans aren't smart, they don't know the game, and I play better than they think I do, or they were criticizing me when they don't understand. She's saying, Julie Foudy said I played well. My mom thought Julie Foudy was right, but I know I played like shit. So is this...
Technically, she's calling her mom stupid.
That's the headline right here.
It is.
Lindsay Horan calls her mom
literally what she
stupid.
said. Her mom was stupid enough to believe what Julie Foudy said. That's what she's saying here.
I guess. I mean, I do think that we're anybody watching a game is sort of susceptible to following.
But
along
I also
with
think that she is maybe guilty of a bit of inferiority complex, because as the athlete on the field is being criticized, and as a professional athlete and as the competitor that she is, it's probably rare she thinks she's good enough. It's probably rare she thinks that she does.
She's holding herself to a high standard.
The mistakes mean more to her than they mean to us.
It's also interesting. I mean, a lot of this interview is sort of about, and she goes on right after this quote to talk about how in France they understand the game. In France, people question her about, hey, are you getting ready for the game? Like, what are you doing? Are you really focused here? And she's doing that thing that a lot of American soccer people do when they go abroad, which is to say, oh, this is so different. Everybody here is much more involved in the game and more connected to it, and therefore the standards are higher, which, by the way, I think is probably true in a lot of cases. And then she ends up talking negatively about American soccer and our culture because of the experience that she's having in France playing for Lyon. I think that's most of what this is, right? It's like when you go when you know somebody who went abroad for a semester and they come back and they're so cultured now because they were in Europe for like 3 months. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah, I think on the women's game too, there may be a little bit of the women's fan base may be a little bit guilty of celebritizing the women a bit more than maybe on the men's side, where there are fans that are just, they love these players. They love these players,
sure.
And it skews younger as well. And
right.
So if you have a bad game, most of these girls are still going to want their jersey signed. And, on the men's side, and maybe even in Europe, they're going to be giving you the piss off symbol and be like, you were shit today.
Maybe,
and I think the women's game is a bit more obvious. It doesn't mean that they can't analyze the game or anything like that,
sure.
but I do think that there is a hero aspect to the women's team in the U.S.
Well, it's interesting, right? I'm not mad at Lindsay Horan for this. I do think it's a little pompous in that, oh, I've been abroad kind of way. I do think there's an element to that, but I take her point that we do have a lot of casual fans. Like we have a lot of fans who are sort of just by circumstance more casual than they would be in a European environment, right? Because the men's game, not the women's game, but the men's game has such deep roots in Europe that it doesn't really have here. And then you throw the women's game in the mix, and you're like, oh, these clubs are 3 years old, or the only thing that really has ever mattered is the national team, and they've dominated, and it makes it really hard to kind of pick apart.
The men's game is naturally a pessimistic game, more pessimistic fan base, because they haven't done shit. The women's game has had the positivity, and I think it skews more positive because of the success that it's had.
Yeah. Okay. There's some other. Again, I put this squarely in the I've been abroad, look how cultured I am arena or area. She says that she was talking about in the NWSL how there's this trend for teams to use the pregame team photo for like hijinks, for like doing silly things that'll catch on social media. Like, this is a trend.
That would piss me off.
It pisses you off to hear that? You don't like that? Okay,
no, if I'm a paid athlete and I'm a captain of a team, hell no, we're about to go get ours. We're about to go feed our family. Like, this is serious shit. This is our job. Like, do you what if you drive a forklift all day long, do you want someone messing around near you when you're doing it?
What I think you're maybe
take seriously, it's your job.
There are probably players who think like that, and there are probably players who are like, no, whatever. Let's have some
Lindsay
fun.
Horan is that player.
Let's grow the game. She said, I want professionalism. Those little things, they really irked me. I don't think I could do it, and maybe I'm wrong in saying that. I don't know. It bothers me. We put so much into this game, and it's just like a joke sometimes. Now, I do think that and I'm not a woman, so I can't speak from that perspective, but I do think this does cause, it could undermine the seriousness of the game if you start getting into that, oh, women's football, women's soccer is not as serious as men's. Look at this stuff, right? It creates easy fodder for people who want to tear down the women's game. So I take your point on that too.
Morgan's just pointing out to some of the teams that were doing this stuff, I guess, success this year. I wanted to backtrack slightly on one thing. If the team as a whole, this is the identity that they want, then yeah, I guess go with it. But I just for Lindsey Horan, I can't see her ever being on a team where that's going to be the personality. She's gonna
Right,
be the
but
captain.
okay, but then that's what she's speaking to, a problem that might exist in a culture of a team, right? And then if 10 players want to do it and one does not, who wins out, right?
The
10
10.
players went out. And Lindsey Horan, who wants to be more professional,
But then Lindsey
ends up
Horan,
in
who
that.
is one of the best players of a generation of Americans, is likely your captain. That shouldn't be she shouldn't be captain of that team. She shouldn't be on that team. You're building around her. Like you bring her in because you want her to be that general.
Yeah, I don't. This is going to be a fascinating thing to watch develop. The continued captaincy of Lindsey Horan. She's in this entrenched generation.
Who
right?
do you see her pushing her out? Do you think
She's the bridge between the older players who are moving out and the players that are coming in behind her.
who pushes Horan out?
Right now, I don't think there's anybody that.
I think
pushes
a
Horan
healthy
out.
Dahlkemper maybe could do something like that, but I'm not really seeing anything outside of that. Down the road, maybe Naomi Gerber could do it, but like I don't see it now.
In terms of captaincy, no.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, she's dual captain with Alex Morgan, but when they're both on the field,
I don't believe any of that. I don't
Lindsay
believe any of
has
that.
the armband.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Christian Pulisic and Tyler Adams were dual captains for a while too. Who was really the captain of that team?
I do think it's interesting, right? When you pick a cat, and I don't remember what the mechanism was here. Like, I don't remember if Vlatko was like, you guys vote and pick a captain, or if he just said, okay, Alex and Lindsay are my captains. And obviously we got Emma Hayes coming in, and she's a new coach, and she may have different ideas about this. And English people take the captaincy super seriously. So how does that play into what the choice will be? But do you think that I don't think she's crossed any lines. I'm guessing that the players will mostly be fine with this stuff. But we've seen some players try to be outside the culture, a little different before. I don't even know. I mean, I guess some of this is like, what does the rest of the team follow Lindsay on some of these thoughts, or are they sort of less precious about this stuff?
No, I mean we're
Because-
coming out of an era where we had we had players who were cultural captains as well. I mean, they in pop culture, like they took stances. They had, for right or wrong, agendas. Like they used the captaincy and the spotlight of the women's national team to do more than just be a leader on the field. I don't think Lindsay Horan's ever going to be that player.
No,
I think
no.
she's business. And again, maybe Emma Hayes doesn't want those
She's
type
an
of players
athlete.
going forward.
She's just a professional athlete, which means she's doing her job, and she's.
And I think that's where Alex Morgan comes in to be the other half of that. I think Alex Morgan can take it off the field, and I don't think to the extent of some of the players in the past, but I think Alex Morgan is willing to take it off the field, whereas Lindsey Horan is the on the field captain.
It is, but this is a fascinating dichotomy that exists within the culture of this team. It doesn't have there's nothing like it in the men's team.
No,
And that's partly because the men's team was never stars the way that the women's national team players were stars or became stars. And
maybe a little bit around the Black Lives Matters movement. Maybe a little bit. There was
but that was more a wave that picked up everybody rather than this notion of like certain players are going to say stuff in this area and certain players are not. I mean, somebody mentioned Carly Lloyd earlier in the chat, right? And compared Lindsay to Carly Lloyd. I mean, I don't know enough about Lindsay's personality to say that she's like Carly Lloyd, but in terms of this thing about the seriousness of the game and the focus should be on the football, and we shouldn't be doing all this other stuff.
I think that's a little bit unfair to Lindsay Horan. I think she's far more Michelle Akers style of like just out here to do the job, and I'm going to give it everything it has, and that's okay too. That's okay too.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this is also about what we ask of our particularly national team players. Right.
And we can't imagine what it's been like to be a women's national team player over the last 10 years, while the both the love and the hate that they've gotten in the American social media world. I mean, I wouldn't begrudge Lindsay Horan the opportunity as the captain to try to maybe make it a little easier for all the players for a while.
Maybe
I could see that.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't necessarily. I don't know if I agree. But
I mean, again,
they've put up with a lot off the field.
This is getting into real tricky territory here, right? Because
that's life.
We've got players who made themselves polarizing by stances that they took, and you and I and a lot of people may agree with those stances, but even people who do would say sometimes, "Hey, you're athlete. What are you doing?
But at
Now,
some point, it's a death by 1,000 cuts, right? We can't imagine what their messages and DMs must look like. Their mentions. I mean, I could understand
regardless of
hey,
their stances
my
on
team needs to
anything.
focus right now.
Yeah, regardless of their stances on anything. And I do think there are certain personalities and players who have been around this team who would say, hey, you're making it harder. Like you said, you're making it harder on us by doing this thing. And you may support Black Lives Matter, or you may, whatever it is, but you're making it harder on us to win soccer games. And that's been an argument that's out there. And when you don't do well at a World Cup, the way the U.S. women didn't in Australia, that becomes an easy thing to
And it's
lob at
great
them.
when you're able to do both. It's great when you're able to do both. And it's great even when you can't do both, because at the end of the day, one's just a game.
It's kind of perverse in a way that you could argue, and you can make a case that Carly Lloyd is in this vein too, right? But it's perverse in a way that you could argue that progress for the women's game means fewer players using their position to speak out on anything, whatever their positions, whatever politics they want to involve. Because in the men's game,
standard of men and women.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying, it's perverse because sort of we accept that male athletes are just athletes. Some of them do take stances. I get it, but like male athletes are just athletes, and all they have to do is be athletes. And to Morgan's point about it being harder to be a woman, right? And again, I can't speak to that from personal experience, but I take her point. You have to be pretty, or you have to be this, or you have to be that, or you have to take a stance on certain topics that are especially more interest to women, right? So like that's complicating being an athlete in a way that's not as complicated for
and then you got to fight for the same pay.
Right. And then you got to worry about, and again, women cannot win, because if you are an athlete and you use your position to either speak out on things or leverage your fame and potentially your looks and your fitness to make more money to help make up for the fact that you're not getting paid what the men are paid, well, then you're not a serious athlete, or you're doing that's not how you're supposed to do it. It's like, wait a second, why is there a way to do it, right? Anyway,
sorry, Morgan. Blame Nick.
You know what? I will say this as we get ready to wrap the show. I'm going to work out. I'm not making any promises, but I'm going to try to work out a way to use the phones without our Nicholas soup and sausage. Now, that being said, Jared and I have some things to discuss that we didn't talk about before the show. So, okay, we won't make any announcements then, right? We're not making any announcements today?
No.
Okay. All right. Then that's good. I'm happy about that. And I can't tell you why.
All I'll say is that we're getting to a very busy time of the year for me and my family, and multiple sports, multiple kids playing them, that I may have to find some alternate schedules coming up to make this work, But I'm very happy that my kid's playing club volleyball and playing select soccer, but that means there is a lot of commitments.
Okay, well, let me throw a little bit of chum in the water then, without making any pronouncements about Jared's situation. That's on him, right? But I will say that the show is going to continue no matter what happens, and I will probably be working to do my best either without Jared, or there may be an opportunity for some fill-in.
It would probably be more like, hey, I may end up doing alternate weeks for a while or something like that, or maybe there's a little bit of a small season where we have guest host,
If you want to audition to be a guest host.
This is a good call. I think you know someone probably.
What if I replaced you with Eric Winalda? How would you feel about that?
Well, you've already done it once.
I didn't replace you. I said his name when I mentioned.
Do you ever call him Jared?
No.
But you're in a relationship with the person whose name you use.
Because we do this once a week, and I talked to that guy
for 12 years.
5 days a week for 3 hours at a pop.
You still haven't done more shows with him.
That's true. I have not done more shows with Eric Winalda than I've done with you. You are my longest relationship, bud. You are. You're my longest relationship. There's that.
Put out more
I mean, I don't know how your wife would feel if you said the wrong name in bed. I'm sure that would be extremely bad.
Oh, I wouldn't. Yeah, pack the bag. pack the bag.
No,
but yeah, we'll probably look to see.
I mean, what if you're Kyle Walker? How do you keep it straight if you're Kyle Walker?
I would never have Kyle Walker's problems.
I bet you Kyle Walker is the kind of guy, knowing what he did, who never actually calls the person he's with, girlfriend, mistress, whatever, by her actual name. I bet he's one of those guys that says babe all the time. Babe, babe, babe.
I'm not saying I say
It
babe.
wasn't that a
Hot Rod?
Jamie Tart thing?
Oh.
Wasn't Jamie Tart always saying babe?
Yeah, I
instead of
think
her-
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Keely,
a good amount.
No, he said Keely. How does he do it?
So
Keely.
guys, we may do a couple of guest hosts here and there. Get some people in, like maybe someone like a Morgan come on and defend all women. And
I know but hold on, that is not something we're putting on Morgan. She can come on and
I'm
talk
just
about
messing around.
soccer.
She knows I'm messing around.
Whatever she wants.
She was wanting to talk today. But maybe a Nick and Soup and Salad. Maybe one of our Patreon members could somehow win
Nicholas
a
Soup and
spot on the
Salad.
show.
I would love that. Yeah,
Maybe a
we'll figure it out.
JTT.
JTT, man, I don't even know. Have we heard from?
Maybe we could
JTT?
find like an old. Maybe we could unarchive someone that people haven't heard of from a long time. Like maybe someone like a Richard Farley or someone like in that kind of thing. Like someone from way back in the day that you don't hear from anymore.
You're going deep. Going deep. I mean, yeah. Mark Fishkin came to mind.
Fishkin.
Mark wouldn't chop it up like
Trevor.
We should do like I can't say anything to that. I got nothing there.
Maybe you can get Chucky Boom Boom on.
I could get Chucky Boom Boom on. I'm sure Chucky would do this show with me.
By the way, I invented that nickname, and I've seen it being used a few times outside of my use now. So that has outlived me.
That's great. It's grown beyond you. Chucky Boom Boom, the original Tommy Scoops, I guess, or whatever. I don't know.
I'm sure Ronaldo will fill in for me.
Jesse Marsh, could he do this show? Could I get him on this show? He's got what do they call it? What you want?
I can't remember what the name of that show is. It's a very interesting name.
Call it what you want. It's called Call it what they
sounds like a romantic comedy.
They weren't like it's called football or it's called soccer. They're like call it what you want.
Hugh Grant and Emma Thompson in Call It What You Want.
It does sound like a romantic comedy. Are we committed to a bonus episode, Mr. Dubois?
On you, sir.
All right, let's do a bonus. The only way to get the bonus is to sign up for the Patreon at patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. You also get access to the Slack where really all these jokes are workshopped in some form or fashion in the Slack. People are there's always something new happening in the Slack. Lots of talk about transfers right now, obviously, as you would imagine. When it comes to soccer, we've got food and beer and travel and investing and gaming, and I'm probably not even invited to all the channels. That was humbling,
you're not.
by the way. Why? Is there a channel for
you're not invited
bashing
to
me?
the cookout?
Oh, yeah. I think I'd be at the cookout before you are at the cookout.
I don't know, man. You just think you're a better dancer.
I definitely am a better dancer than you. There's no
You've
doubt about
never
that.
seen anything.
I know you've never seen it either. All right, that's why it's so much fun. Anything else to talk about before we get out of here?
That's
No?
it, brother.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it. We will see you next week. Bye.
Oh, it's incredible! Go to DEFCON 2.
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
Oh, baby!
What are we doing? Duh and or hello.
Who asked those questions? WNBC. WNBC.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
Okay, assholes. Sun's out, guns out.
Damn, dog, that's an approach.
Michael freaking